Hello everyone, my name is Jasprit Kaur, MSc MA from Lovely Professional University. Today I'm going to present a topic, theories on learning. In this topic, we are going to discuss about different aspects, the behavioral perspectives on learning and classical conditionings. But before starting from this topic, let us understand what is the meaning of learning. Meaning of learning. Learning is said to be an equivalent to change, modification, growth, development, improvement, and adjustment. Now, from this definition of the learning, it is clear that we talk about something has to be changed, something which has to be developed, and something which we improve. That is what we are called as learning. If we talk about the different perspective about this learning, we have Mr. Gates. Now, Gates, what he talked about learning is it is a modification of behavior. Right now, you are receiving my lecture, and after like this lecture, you are able to reform yourself with lots of aspects, and there will be a behavioral change that you know about the theories of learning. So there is a modification of behavior due to the experience you have after watching this video or during this video. If I talk about Crow and Crow, what he talked about, he said that learning involves the acquisition of habits, knowledge, and attitudes. Now, how will you learn? If you have a knowledge, if you have an attitude, or you have a habit to learn, then you will learn. Otherwise, you will not be able to learn. If I talk about the Skinner, he said that acquisition and retention both are important. Now, if I talk about the Crow and Crow, they said if you have a habit of learning, if you want to proceed, you want to get a knowledge, or you have an attitude, then only you will be having a learning. But the Skinner talked about that the retention is also important. If I talk about the word worth, now what he said that any addition to our existing experience is a kind of learning. Now, whatever we have learned, you have already learned about the theories of learning. You have already learned about the different aspects of behavioral aspects of human psychology and human behavior. So now there is something new which today I'm going to teach you in this theories of learning. So it will be addition to your experience, existing experience. So we can say that learning is a relatively permanent change in behavior or behavior potential that occurs as the result of reinforced practice or experience. Now, as you all learn and you practice it a lot and a lot, even when as a teacher, it is said to us that form the objectives of the class, that what you are going to teach to the kids and how you be teaching. So all these aspects are covered. How? When you frame the objectives, when you do this in your BA, that forming objective in a lesson plan, you did that, and after doing that, every time you are doing this while preparing your lecture, it will become your habit, and you will be able to, you know, uh, form objectives every time you are going to deliver the class. It will be in your habit because there is a learning, and due to that, there is a permanent change in your behavior that you will always prepare your lesson plan. I hope this learning meaning of learning is clear. Now we are going to talk about the behavioral views on learning. Now there are many behaviorists. Now what they said that the learning is a relatively permanent change in behavior or behavioral potential that occur as a result of the reinforced practice or experience, which we have already learned in the previous slide. But what does that mean? It means that you have reinforced practice, then you have learning, and then you have relatively permanent change in your behavior. Let us understand with one simple example. You all know cooking. Now, how we learn the cooking? First, we want to cook Maggi. Simple example. For that, we just read the instructions and we start doing. For the first time, we follow the instructions, and according to that, we make that. And then there is a learning that okay, sometimes we can change. We can don't stick to that the menus, or you can say instructions which are given on the Maggie's packet. You can just go and practice. You can just do the improvisation in by adding tomatoes or any other things you want. So now what you will do next time when you will prepare a Maggie, right? What you will do? Then you will create it in different manner, and again then there will be a learning, and then at the end there will be a relatively permanent change in behavior. that every time you cook, you will understand that, okay, this is the aspect I need to consider in mind, that how much water I want to add in the Maggi so that the Maggi soup will be there. If I want a dry Maggi, how much water I should put so that it will be cooked, but it stay dry. So there are, learnings which comes from practice, and reinforce practice when you practice again and again and again with a willpower, and you want that there should be something, a fruitful learning. Like as a teacher also, we teach, teach, and we learn, and one day we have a behavioral change in ourselves that automatically we are teaching. We don't have to prepare for anything. It comes in our behavior that we teach. Now, if I talk about this black box, now why it is there? Behavioral views generally assume the outcomes of the learning is change in the behavior. Now there is an input sensation that, okay, input will be there and then output will be there. But what will be in this black box? What will be the things going on due to that this learning will be happening? So what things describe the relationship between input and output? How we will get the output? If we are practicing, we are learning, then how we get the behavioral change or output which we want? Whenever you teach the student, whenever you are learning, you also want that if I am giving my 2 hours to this task, then I should score 20 out of 20 in our assignments or any test, or maybe 100 out of 100. So how this thing happening? What is happening in this black box? So what is happening here in the black box, we will understand with the classical conditioning and operant conditioning and observation learning. We will use this learning process. Behavioral learning process involves contiguity learning, classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and observational learning. Behaviorism focuses on a new behavioral pattern being repeated until it becomes automatic, including the use of instructional cues, practice, and reinforcement. Now, this is the important aspect which is going on in that black box, which I have shown you, this black box, right? In that black box, now what happened is that there is a conditioning of your mind, that your mind get conditioned that if this will be happening, I am doing this. Sometimes you know that when someone is trying to hit you and you just do the reflection that, okay, I am protecting myself. It is automatic, self-defense. It is automatic. If someone is going to hit you, you will protect. There is a reflex. It is always there. Why? Maybe you have done that. This is in your this reflex is inbuilt in you. So like that in the brain also it happens that there is an input, there is an output. Input that we want that this thing should be changed, and then in the output what happened? In the output we have that there is a modification of behavior. So what this learning processes involves? They involves the associations. It can be of anything. Associations can be of a environment. Association can be done with the object. Association can be done with the any type of reinforcement. It can be anything. Practice paired with target stimuli. Now, what is practice paired? Practice paired means it means that if you have something with you, like if you want to teach student a topic and you want that student belongs to grade 3, and you will put a star in front of him that, okay, this is the star, this is a gold big star, I'm going to give it to you if you will doing this task. And now what will happen? That task, that star and that task will be paired together, and due to that he will say that, okay, I will, if I will complete that task, I will get the star. Every time whenever it will happen there, and then what will happen? Then you will get the correct response, and to get every time that correct response, you will get the reinforcement that, okay, I'm giving star to you. Multiple opportunities, trials, drill, and practice can be done. Chaining, you can automatically perform a specific procedure, and instruction cues to elicit correct response. Now, this is very important. Sometimes what happens is we want that student should respond in a particular way. And for that, what we do, we create an instruction cues that if student will do this, then it will happen. If this, then it will happen. You have seen that we have a video games. In that video games, what happened? If we will clear one level with a particular set of instructions, then you are able to get the 3 star in that. And if you are not able to do it in a perfect manner, you will get 2 star. Or if you are not able to do it in very perfect manner, or you can say that it's just you have a point, you scored only 0.5 more, and then you will get only 1 star. So to get the correct response of that 3 star in a video game, we have instructions to follow, that if this target will be achieved, this target will be achieved, this target will be, then we will be getting the correct response. Similar with the student, if you will provide them the correct response, if you want them that correct response should be there, you should give them perfect instructions. Now let's talk about the Pavlov classical conditioning theory. It has a great importance in us if we have to consider the behavioral aspect of a human being. If I talk about the Pavlov's classical conditioning theory, what he has done, he has given us a conditioning theory in which he says that if a mind is conditioned with a stimulus, right, then what will happen? There will be a modification of behavior. Pavlov's theory of learning, known as it is having a various name: Pavlovian conditioning theory, conditioned response theory, conditioning reflex theory, substitution response theory, classical conditioning, S-type conditioning. S here stands for stimuli, and responded conditioning. Now, what does it means to be having a conditioning? It is like you trained your dog. It is a conditioning that this type of behavior will be visible when you will do this. Like that, we condition the human mind, a process of behavior modification by which a subjects come to associate a desired behavior with the previously unrelated stimulus. Now, this is very important to understand that what is conditioning. Conditioning is a process of behavior modification. Now here we are going to associate. Association will be there. It can be with anything. To get that desired behavior, we are going to do the association. Now, what Pavlov did, he did one experiment on a dog. Now you can see the picture of dog. You can see here. Now you can see the dog is here, and in front of dog there is a food. Dog is tied so that he cannot eat, right? And his saliva, which is coming from his mouth, is collected in small container, and there is a recording of its behavior, that how its saliva is coming, right? When he saw the food, saliva is coming, and he wants to eat. That okay, that I will eat my food now, and then there is a saliva. Now what happened is, before conditioning, now this picture will help us to understand that what is going on, why he has Pavlov considered the conditioning of a dog. Now you can see in the picture before conditioning. Now before conditioning, you can see there is a food, then the response is the simple response which we have seen in this picture, that saliva, production of saliva is there. Now there is unconditioned stimulus. This food is unconditioned stimulus, that we don't require anything, just give them food, there will be a saliva. Now in the second, we have just rang the bell. Now this bell is a neutral one. With this bell, the dog will not react. No saliva will be there. No response will be there. In first picture, you can see before conditioning, when the food came in front of dog, there is a saliva. When bell, in the second one, when the bell came, there is no saliva, no response. Now in the third picture, what Pavlov did, he had just associated bell and food together. Now there is an association. One is unrelated, unconditioned stimulus, and another one is, now are you able, this thing is very important to understand, that one time unconditioned stimulus is there, another time neutral stimulus is there, and when you have put them together, now ring the bell and food, now there is a response, that saliva is there, and you are doing this again and again and again and again and again and again with the dog. And what happens is, when you simply ring the bell, saliva will come. That bell becomes the conditioned stimulus, and we got the conditioned response. Now this is very important to understand, that When in the third process, during conditioning, when this process of conditioning is going on, bell and food together, they are working. An unconditioned response, that is saliva, is coming. Unconditioned. Now, when only bell is rang, only bell is there, bell, then the response is saliva. So this is what he talked about in his classical conditioning theory. If I will give one more simple example, which is related to our daily life, you all remember school bell before lunchtime, when you just that bell rang and you, what you do, there is a just hungerness that okay, I am hungry now, I will eat my food, I will eat my food. So what happened, it is there now. So like that only now, for throughout from kg, kg1, kg2, and then first, second, third, till 10th grade, till 12th, that bell is in our mind. We are conditioned that when there is a bell, we will say that okay, this is the lunch bell, or maybe the lecture bell, right? We associate the bell with that. So it is our conditioning of mind only. So conditioning, what is conditioning? Now we have understood that a form of learning in which a neutral stimulus become a conditional, means natural stimulus. Now you have seen that bell here, that bell becomes a conditional stimulus, and we got the conditioned response. But earlier it was the neutral stimulus. But now after conditioning, that natural stimulus capable of eliciting or drawing out a given response after being repeated, presented with an unconditioned stimulus. So you can see here, unconditioned stimulus is your food, bell is associated with it, and now you got the conditioned stimulus. So due to that, you got the conditioned response, that is saliva. So that's how the conditioning is done. Now, if you talk about the behavioral pattern associated with classical conditioning, now there is an acquisition, association, and substitution. You have seen that we have associated the bell with the food. Now you can see the line, the mouse here, small little mouse, there is a bulb and there is a food. Now you can see bulb and food. Now he started eating it. Bulb, food. There are different rates. Now there, what happening is, here we have given them a association, that so that they can associate their response with something. And due to that, when we don't give the food to someone, and that conditioned stimulus will be there na, then there will be a conditioned response. So stimulus generalization after a particular conditioned stimulus has come to elicit a conditioned response. Another similar stimulus will elicit the same CR. Now CR means conditioned response. CS means conditioned stimulus. I hope you are able to understand this thing. And with the daily life example, which I have given to you, that how human mind is also trained, or you can say conditioned, you are able to understand this theory. And even the stimulus discrimination to respond to one conditioned stimuli and not to others that are similar. Now, when your doorbell rang, or someone is playing any type of ring, that response will not come, your saliva will not come. Like that dog will also not generate that saliva, because he is not conditioned with that particular voice. He has the bell in his mind that this type of bell will ring, then only this response will come. Now extinction occurs when conditioned stimulus is presented repeatedly but not followed by unconditioned stimulus. Now what happened, it is like you have given them, okay, for one time there you have rang the bell for the dog, and what happened, he is producing saliva. And what happened again, next day you did it again. When you will give only bell again and again now, then what happened, that bell will lose its importance, then there will be no conditioning. It happens with the kids also. You have seen that if you will give that, I will give you star, I will give you star, I will give, you are giving them this thing, and their mind will be conditioned. But what we do, we just take that reinforcement from them. Okay, now for every task we will not give them, because now they will be become a habitual for them. So we just say that okay, we will give star, and they will perform, and then you have not given. What happened? He will say that maybe ma'am has forgot or sir has forgot. Then next day also you have said the same thing, but you haven't given. Again, third day you have said, but you have not given. Now what will be happening? They will lose that. They will be say that okay, task karo ya na karo, you will do or not, nothing matter. So there will be extinction. That stimulus will be ended. Now, what are the education implications of this classical conditioning theory? Now, associate positive present events with learning tasks. Now, what are the situation? Reading prompts will be there, group competition and cooperation and activities will be there. Help student to risk anxiety producing situation voluntarily and successfully. For shy students, it is good. Texting the anxiety, how it will be? You can give ungraded practice test. Now, what happen if someone is having a fear of tests? Now, take the test regularly. What will happen? They will lose that fear of having a test. That okay, I feel anxiety. Sometimes student is not able to present their point of view while speaking. Sometimes they don't feel confident, and in small presentation in front of class, you can give them that okay, present this topic. You can just make them stand and you can say that okay, speak. If they do that regularly, na, they will lose that anxiety and they will say that okay, I'm confident now. I'm confident enough to express my point of view. And this will help the students in discrimination and generalization. Now, this is very important that action verbs and words, they are able to understand that what is the thing is going on. Now, what type of things will be there in action verbs and words? Now you can see that every time whenever we speak in English, sometimes we have a fear of okay, grammatical mistake is there. But sometimes when we speak in fluency, there will be no grammatical error. But when we focus particularly on one word, that okay, this sentence should be like this sentence should be like this. Oh, I forgot about the past perfect continuous, or maybe future tense, maybe past tense, maybe perfect tense. This thing I have forgotten. I have used the incorrect one, that I have used was instead of would, were, where. They are jumbled. Sometimes this mistake happens. It happens with everyone. Whenever you speak, sometimes it's there. No one in the world is perfect. So to make ourselves perfect, if we practice a lot, we will practice speaking, we will practice with the words, then what will happen? It will have a great impact in our mind, and we will be conditioned. We are going to condition our mind and we are able to speak fluently. I hope you are able to understand that why this Pavlov's conditioning theory is important, what are their educational implications, and how this conditioning theory helps the teacher to understand the behavior of a child, because it's important to condition student mind. Sometimes we need that response, we need that modification of behavior in a student so that they can tackle any type of situation in their life. With this, I would like to just thank you for watching this video, and I'm very glad that you made till end. And if you like my video, please like or subscribe my channel. And if you feel that there is any improvement or any other point of view is there, or you would like to add some point so that in the next upcoming videos I can add few points, please let me know in the comment box. Thank you so much.